Guys, this
Vincent, we're going to need to take a deep breath.
deep
before
breath.
we get
I'm
into
taking
this
a deep
article.
breath. Okay. Deep breath taken.
Okay.
You let me know when I should start, James, because
You're good to go whenever.
this right here is another very large story, I would say. I have been waiting so patiently for more Lego Star Wars news. It is definitely up there in my top 3 most anticipated games this year. Okay. But good news can come with bad news, ladies and gentlemen. And this is some really
It's true.
shit.
Really
And,
shitty news.
So right here we have a large article from Polygon that says Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga has led to extensive crunch at TT Games. James, you and I are going to tag team this because this is important to talk about. This is so important to talk about.
This is a massive hog of an article.
I'm glad you brought this to my attention because this morning all I saw was the gameplay trailer and I just loved it. I loved it. And then I saw you put
every
this in there.
great gameplay trailer, there is a shadow side.
Yes. And this is important. This is important to talk about.
This is very important.
I'll start us off here with just a little bit. In late 2017, development studio TT Games, which is Traveler's Tales Games, not to be confused with Telltale Games. It's the double T's. They get me every time. It's Traveler's Tales. Began work on Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga at a time when dozens inside the company were at odds with management. Tight development schedules, crunch culture, and outdated development tools. Some employees even reported breakdowns after work. Quote, "It was very soft-spoken blackmail," one former employee says. "If people don't start doing overtime, there's going to be problems." Although, problems were never specified. James, you hold up a finger. What happened?
It was a thumbs up.
It was a thumbs up. Got it. Polygon spoke with over 30 employees anonymously to gather the following info. James, what is the first big point of this article? It's right here. Sorry, might be.
I'm sorry.
Here it is. Right here.
Wait, are you in the... Okay, you skipped to the bottom part. Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
6 former employees who worked under John Burton, co-founder and creative director at TT Games, say he would often yell at staff to return to their desks if they tried to leave work on time, and that he regularly expected employees to put in extra hours. Otherwise, meanwhile, remember leads following employees out of the studio to question their reasons for leaving and their loyalty to a job or to the job.
Yeah.
Quote, "The big problem was that crunch was premeditated," says one former employee. "It wasn't an emergency protocol for when things went wrong. Instead, it was a tool in the box for production. Projects were planned with crunch periods in the schedule, or even worse, crunch was the schedule. It was a regular occurrence because of the type of games we made. Movie tie-ins and kids stocking fillers. They had all had deadlines dictated by a holiday event or the release of some film."
Which is shit. Because Traveler's Tales, I mean, they literally do Lego games. I can't think of anything else that they've done recently.
They only do Lego games.
All of them are IP based, except for maybe Lego City Undercover, or
like there was like a Lego Kingdoms game one time.
Yeah,
for
Lego
DS.
Worlds. That was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So crunch. That's the first big red flag here. But we have another red flag. Employee survey had the lowest rated working conditions that WB has ever received. This goes upon any of their branches of WB or anything WB owns. John told us, who was the co-founder and creative director, he told us during the presentation he was going to hit the reset button in response to the survey results and try to start fresh, says former employee. He started dropping some of the odd rules that we had at the studio, disabling the internet firewall and allowing people to answer phones at their desk. But nothing meaningful that addressed project timelines, low salaries, or the crunch culture. It was back to business as usual the following Monday. So that's like, what's worse than like a boss telling you they're going to fix these things and then nothing actually happens? Like, it's like false hope. It's crushing, I guess, especially after years of this. It's dumb. But there's more.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that led to this. Management made the unpopular decision to develop the game on a new engine called NTT. Sources tell Polygon that employees inside the studio have been pushing hard for TT to switch to the Unreal Engine, with a small group even creating a Lego Star Wars test in the software. This was well received internally by those who saw it, according to both current and former staff. But management decided to continue developing the project on NTT in an attempt to avoid paying engine licensing costs. Members of the team say that in practice, when they got their hands on NTT, it was unstable and it was missing features. Unreal Engine was cheaper to use. It was more accessible. There were people knew how to use it more than NTT. The decision to go with NTT and not Unreal was ridiculous.
Yes. From what we've read. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
I don't understand. I don't understand the decision there. Skywalker Saga was supposed to mark changes in the company's working conditions. Eventually, many now reflect TT Games' biggest project yet, with management coining phrase "strive for 85," referring to the game's potential Metacritic score. The company's previous highest Metacritic score is 83 for Lego Marvel Superheroes on PS4. Yep. Strive for 85, baby. Ugh. Despite the importance of the Lego Skywalker Saga, the studio always had multiple projects going at one time, and that staff were often moved around, putting more pressure on those who remained on the Star Wars game. Quote, the director would request new mechanics on a whim and then ask to be changed while never actually fixing anything that really mattered, says one former employee. Quote, read every review of a Lego game. They always say the same things. Platforming is pants, the camera is terrible, no online co-op. So, let's add God of War style combat tree. 5-year-olds will love it.
Yep.
Sad.
In March 2020, the company appointed former Sony Worldwide Studios Vice President Michael Denny as Vice President and Studio Head. Then in August 2020, TT Games Head of Technical Design Martin Palmer left the company. Studio Director Paul Flanagan departed shortly afterward in October. We've confirmed that at least 40 employees have left TT Games and TT Fusion since the start of 2021, according to two high-ranking sources. The company employs more than 400 staff across the two studios, which are Warner Bros. And TT, and they declined to provide exact numbers. Over 15 of the current... 10%?
Of the company? 40 out of 400? That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big margin. Over 15 of the current and former employees Polygon spoke to say they're disappointed with management's vision for the future and its decision to focus solely on LEGO projects. Current and former TT staff also see parallels between what is happening at the company and what Polygon reported was happening at Sony Manchester, with Matthews and Green micromanaging all aspects of design. A spokesperson for TT Games did not answer specific questions about the company's issues, but provided us with the following statement about its current work culture. Quote, TT Games is committed to creating a respectful, fair, and inclusive workplace for every employee. There have been many efforts in recent years that with the new studio leadership and the support of Warner Bros. Games to nurture a collaborative culture and work-life balance our employees can be proud of. Our legacy of delighting fans with the games we have created over the years is very important to us. We recognize our continued and future success relies on sustaining the momentum of the positive changes we have made to date, ensuring every employee feels supported, appreciated, and experiences a true sense of belonging. Meanwhile, a number of senior staffers who have left TT over the last 2 years have since joined Flanagan at 1010 Games.
1010. 1010. Over the last few months, we've heard some positive steps at TT, which is good. Multiple sources close to the company say TT will no longer be using NTT projects. Thank God. Finally agreeing to switch to Unreal Engine, which some view as a potential step forward. Current employees also saying that in the last few months, the company has started paying closer attention to and limiting the amount of overtime that the staff can work. This might potentially be why we haven't seen a release date for the game yet, which is actually good. That's a good thing.
I think that is the reason why.
Yeah. As for we do have one today, but it's much later in the year than I expected. So, it's probably good. As for the Skywalker Saga, a mix of current and former employees say that they expect the finished results, currently scheduled for early 2022, it's actually April 5th, to satisfy fans, but they wonder why the staff had to endure so much to get to that point. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's sad to hear about. James, you said something to me before the podcast. I wanted to dig into it. I want to dig into it a little. You said, well, number one, regardless of if you have any interest in this game, you said you will not be buying this game under any circumstances.
I will not be buying this game under any circumstances.
Tell me why.
Because, okay, so this is under the presupposition that conditions do not improve.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think about that. I don't know if that's entirely true for now, because I don't want to give my money to executives. So if leadership is healthy, if it is made healthy, if it is reformed, and my money will go towards those studio executives who are making positive change, I'll give them my money.
Yeah.
But that is to say, if I'm actually planning on playing this game in the first place.
Sure. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if there's any way that my money is going towards like someone, I mean, like not an equivalent, but a similar thing would be like same reason why I wouldn't buy a game published by Activision. Of
Mm-hmm.
like, I wouldn't want to give my money to people like Bobby Kotick, right?
Yeah.
And people who create crunch, bad working conditions for the employees, because the employees aren't seeing the money that I put into like buying the game. Unlike an indie developer, in which like
They would see right away. Yeah.
they would see that money right away because my money is going directly to an indie developer. Rather, but with a bigger studio with like that's connected to bigger publishers, that money has to get funneled down through executives who often don't pay their employees enough anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't think me buying that game isn't supporting that in any way. That's not like, I'm not giving my money to the person who is doing like the animation design for Luke Skywalker's
Right.
lightsaber.
Yeah. So I would have counterpointed before you said all that, but now my point seems like it's already been responded to you, but like responded by you. But I would say, like, initially the response that I would not buy this game, I would say I am of the opposite opinion, where buying the game still supports the people that stuck with the project for years. But I don't actually know how much money the people that actually worked on the game get or receive or even see through like just the average Joe purchasing the game. No idea how that breakdown works. But it's, on one hand, I love to see that there seems like they're slowly taking steps, but that does not override the fact that there's been years of crunch.
Right.
Like, we're talking, I'm talking back to other games. There's people saying in here that started working at TT from 2005 that there was crunch back then. That's talking Wii levels of game. We're talking like way back PS2 levels of Lego games.
Yep.
So I mean, at any point, we have been supporting this unknowingly. Yes. So supporting this knowingly to me is a lot harder. But I feel, I don't know. Imagine I'm trying to put myself in a dev shoes that has stuck with this project for years, that has gone through all the shit, and to have no one play the game at the end would be soul crushing, unless they want the project to fail for some reason. But if they wanted the project to fail, they would leave. Or they would. It sounds like there's already recruiting to 10 games.
Well, these people like they need to pay their bills.
100%. I totally understand that. I definitely don't believe that you could just quit to get another. This is right, but it's tough. I don't know where I stand on this, but I don't think that boycotting the game, for not boycotting, but like not purchasing the game, would be my answer to this. Yeah, right.
I think it is like, you put your like. Not giving a developer your money is like one of the easiest ways you can like protest a studio.
Yeah. That's why I wouldn't want to give money to the management, but that's just how it goes. Like, I would have to if I buy the game. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how else do I support the devs? What's an alternate way?
I think other than giving, like, I don't know who else you give money to.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm an armchair analyst.
As am I. I'm not. I wish I was there. I wish I was there to see.
But like, protest and boycott are they are the ways for like your average Joe. Unless you want to like get into like the like policy making and start to like get into like companies that advocate on behalf, or like unions for game developers.
I think my thought is less of like, I don't think that boycotting is always the only way to change things in senses like this and in general. Like, that's like, my mind goes to other places that I feel like boycotting and protesting is like the final straw of like, okay, nothing else worked. This is the only thing that like could potentially work. Let's try to boycott.
I come at it from the opposite way. I think boycotting and protest is like the beginning.
I think it's an extreme.
I don't think it's an extreme.
I think that
money rules everything.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know that boycotting and protesting this supports the people that I want to support more than hurts the people I want to support.
How would it hurt the people you want to support?
Because then imagine the developers at this company all out of a job after this. All of them. If you were to stop all sales of this game, you are now laying off 400 people at TT Games, and they are all going to find new jobs now. Instead of
But
instead of hoping to try to change the things that the staff is already doing, like not the staff that are already doing, the executives are already doing. You want to make them better, not put all these people out of a job.
But there's no way to actually get to those studio executives and say, hey, you should do a better job in a way that's
there's no way. You're right. So that's why I'm looking for an alternative.
So you can't, because the only alternative then is for them to find a new job at the end of the day. Like, if the studio's not going to change, the only alternative is for them to get a new job. And whether that happens as a result of their studio going out of business or them personally leaving on their own accord, I think that is the best thing for the developers, is to get to go to other studios that have better working conditions. If reform is not an option for that studio, they need to leave that studio.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's think about this a little more, because I wish the article said more about that. This is like what I'm more interested in than even like, okay, you see 10% of employees left the studio over the course of the development cycle of Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
Yep.
At least, let me see. They talked to 30 people who still work at the company. So I don't know how many people they talked to that actually left. It's 10% of the company. That's a huge chunk of people that were fed up and done, right?
Yep.
Whether or not they got a better job or just absolutely just completely done, that they just moved on. I want to know the reasons that the other 360 people decided to stay. One, they believe in the game enough to stay. Two, they don't have another job opportunity to go to. They financially cannot leave the company. All these are valid reasons to stay. They like legitimately can't. Like that, I really want to know those things. And I would want to talk to those people that represent those 360 and ask them exactly how do we support you? Obviously I can't support financially. I can't support financially through like, oh yeah, here's money or whatever. Like normal people, we just can't do that. I want to know if they think boycott is the best option for these people. I want to know if they think my opinion is so much less than the opinion of the devs work.
Right.
It's just my thoughts. I don't know.
I don't even know. Let's also think about boycotting and what that communicates, because I think by saying boycotting, studio goes under, I think that's skipping a few steps. Because
that's an extreme. That's a total extreme.
Well, no. I'm sorry. It's just saying, like, because when you boycott and you protest by not giving a studio money, they're first, like, it doesn't just shut them all out of business, because money doesn't just all it doesn't all go out the window overnight.
And they're funded by other things.
They are funded by other things too. A lot of internal funding, things like that. But they see numbers drop, and as a capitalist company that is like drawn to make profit, they say, okay, we need to switch something in order to make profit. If they're anything of a good capitalist, company, right?
Money talks.
Money talks, right? Money talks. And so they say, we need to change something. And hopefully that change, hopefully because of the amount of backlash, the amount of people talking on social media and like posting about it, and the messaging that comes along with that protesting and boycotting, because they are also going to ask, why are they protesting? Why are they boycotting? Why are they not giving us their money? And when they're given the answer of, well, you guys aren't giving your employees good working conditions, hopefully that would give them say, oh shit, we actually need to change what we're doing so that we can make money again. And when they start making money again, then it can, like, it also, hopefully shows down to employees. Once that new leadership is in place that is focused on the betterment and the health of their employees, then that change actually happens. It's not like, oh, we stop giving them money and then they just go under.
I agree. Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to me, and I would love to talk to someone that works there, I
would love to talk to like some like gaming economist about like how boycotting actually affects like the game industry and how to advocate for workers.
Yeah. But I don't think that's just economists. Like I really truly think that you have to talk to like people in the actual jobs as well as like how an economist would look at it.
Well, sometimes people in the actual jobs like don't like, sometimes they're too surrounded by it to actually like know particular like practices, rather than someone who like researches like gaming unions and like how unionization works and how that supports I think unionization is like could be maybe the best thing like to happen to the gaming industry and the history of gaming development.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about any of it. I just know that I'm more concerned about the people than the business, I guess.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm here for too.
Yeah.
I could give less of a shit about like Tencent as a actual like development like company. I can give a shit, but I care about the workers. I want the people to live well, to have health and wealth, and to live healthily and not hate their job, not hate their life.
Damn. That was good. That was great.
Great.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, Vincent.